Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to speak about the subject of, does philosophy lead to more questions or more answers? Well, just to put it bluntly, I think it does lead to more questions than it does answers, and at the same time, more answers than it does questions. I think it's actually pretty even. The thing is that, first of all, you have to think. And I think the whole point of philosophizing about things like I'm doing is kind of to just challenge you and just to challenge things. I like challenging people. I like if people live in a certain way, if people are doing things in one way or another, I never say, hey, you're doing it wrong or you're doing it right. I'm just saying, hey, let's see, let me just challenge you. And I'm just curious to kind of pick your brain and see why you do the things you do, why you think the things you think, and then we'll go from there. But I do think that philosophy can even raise more questions, because the thing is, at the same time, you got to think about it this way. I think that human beings and the way that we think, we're actually not meant to know all these things that we know. In some way, they also say that the prefrontal cortex and stuff like that was basically a mutation that happened thanks to a virus that gave us an illness at some point in our history of humankind, and that made it in such a way that it just developed much larger. And because of that, then you just were able to do many, many more things, be it thinking wise, but then we kind of lost that hunter's perspective, or that way of being the hunters or animalistic side of ourselves, and then we kind of became a combination of animal and, I guess how we say, human, even though we're not really better than animals or whatever else. Sometimes we actually destroy the earth more than what we do, but we were given with this gift, or we were left with this gift of consciousness and thinking. It might actually not be a gift sometimes too, because, well, which other animal is always working and pondering about life and the existence of being? And who knows, maybe the ignorance that we have, or the just being in the moment that some other animals, such as animals and cats, such as dogs and stuff like that, are able to have, might be their blessing, and we are cursed with this pondering all the time. And I've noticed too that the more you're thinking about things, the more you're questioning, sometimes makes you more unhappy. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. But at the same time, I do think that it's good to question and to think, because if you're just a little ant following the other ants, well, there's no good in that, because then you're not thinking and you're not making the world better. Actually, on the contrary, you might be making things worse, and you might be actually hindering the world that you're in, because you're just being this little ant following the other ants, and that's not good. So I think philosophy sometimes is not really there to give you all the answers. It's just, again, like I said, it's a tool, make you think. We were never really meant to know the meaning of the world, the meaning of life. And the thing is that's kind of funny is that I think the reality is basically there is no one, you know how we want to have that theory of everything, that theory of knowing everything that we know, and that we can put it in this cool little cute little mathematical theorem that's just there. Well, the reality is that it's a little more complex than that. It's kind of like atoms and molecules, you put them through some sort of machine, and then you break them, and then you find all these other slew of things within them. And then you're like, whoa, okay, well, what I thought I knew, well, I don't know. And it's kind of like what we see the world through the eyes of a human being, but since we're human, we're only able to see them through those eyes. So basically, how are we as mankind able to better that? How are we able to see them through the eyes of something else? Well, who knows, maybe it's going to be through this artificial intelligence that we've created, robots and computers, and the fact that we're going to be implanted with other things in our brain. And again, it becomes philosophy. So whatever I'm saying here, whatever I'm doing, it's always philosophy. But I do like to think, and I do like doing these talks because it makes me reflect on some things, and hopefully if there's even just a handful of people that do watch these things, well, then it makes you think too. And thinking is the gift that we have as humans. So why do we always praise so much the people that don't think in some way? We often give a lot of praise to the jocks and to people who do questionable things sometimes because it looks fun when they do it, but a lot of them are doing stupid things. Kind of like watching Jackass. It's fun to watch, but does it have much utility? Well, I guess it makes us laugh, so that's a use too. But and I if any of the Jackass people are watching this, well, I love their work too. I never disrespect, but yeah, we do give praise more to the silly things than the things that take a bit of intellect sometimes, because I think it's just hard. It's hard to think. It's hard to get up in the morning at a certain time, go to work, go do little things that are hard to do because we as humans are or have a tendency to be lazy sometimes, and that's just the reality of life and the reality of being a human, but that's okay too. So that's it. I hope I raised more questions, or I gave you more answers. I don't know, but I feel like it's a 50-50 here. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say on the subject. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.